So Marshall Rosenberg, as he created nonviolent communication, he sought to take the work of Carl Rogers and take his work in psychology and really create something that he could train other people in. And one of the things he did that I just think is a genius is he created these symbols for what is a life-affirming way of being and what's a life-negating way of being, what connects us to each other and what creates separation from each other. And those symbols that he chose are the jackal and the giraffe. And oftentimes you'll see people in nonviolent communication using their puppets. I don't have mine with me. What I do have are my headbands. So we've got jackal and giraffe here, headbands that get used to really help illustrate what the differences are, those differentiations between the jackal consciousness, the separation consciousness, the disconnected kind of consciousness, the me versus you, or the connected consciousness, the compassionate consciousness, the we are in this together consciousness. So oftentimes those characters, the jackal and giraffe, are used to help really clarify distinctions, clarify differentiations as it relates to the nonviolent communication principles that will support you to create win-wins as a way of life. So jackal and giraffe, what are they? Why were they chosen? The jackal, I'll get my jackal ears on. The jackal generally is not smiling like I just was. It's like, rawr, right? The jackal it's a scavenger, like really the jackal that exists. It's a scavenger. So it feeds off of death. And the jackal, generally, it's the part of us that reacts. It's the part of us that can say things we later regret. It's the part of us that reacts from a place of fear. One of the things that I like to talk about is how nonviolent communication relates to the way our brain works. And there's a part of the brain, it's called the medulla oblongata. It is also sometimes called the reptilian part of the brain. And from an evolutionary standpoint, it's seeking to keep us safe, right? So that the species can continue on. So if you see a reptile, like they're really, really, really still, and if they feel like they're threatened, they'll generally dart super quick. Or if it's a snake, like a rattlesnake that feels threatened and you're too close, it might snap in the blink of an eye. So fight, flight, freeze are the instincts of the reptilian brain in instances where the need for safety, and this is a universal need, where the need for safety feels threatened. So the jackal very much represents that part of our human mechanism. Now, the thing is, we don't necessarily fight, flight, and freeze the way a reptile does, right? We might fight by saying something really nasty, by name-calling, shaming, blaming, judging, criticizing. So those are ways that a human being might go into fight. And it could be physical fighting too, of course. Fighting on a collective leads to war. So those are all some of those life-negating behaviors. Again, very much, so much of it is run by this need for safety. There's other needs mixed in there too, and we'll talk about that later. But that's what the jackal is. So that's fight. Of course, flight might be walking out the door. You might slam the door on the way, which would express more of a little bit of the fight with the flight. It might mean that you just get on your phone and, I'm just going to look at Facebook right now. I'm not going to listen to you, right? That would be another way of flighting, of disappearing. It could be that you take off for a while. And there's different ways that somebody can flight. And then freeze, is really literally like the deer in headlights that, even holding your breath, am I safe here? Am I not? It's kind of that place where I'm not quite fighting, I'm not quite flighting, but I'm on high alert. So those are the fight, flight, freeze. In all of those, generally there's some level of fear, stress, and anger that's running in the background. And so we're not going to make, the jackal's not bad. at all. The jackal is seeking to meet universal needs, generally for safety, for respect, to be heard, to matter. So it's not bad. And when we live from a jackal reactiveness, we're going to be contributing to our own feeling of disconnection from others. We'll be contributing to feelings of alienation and to those domination structures. A jackal might use fighting as a way to gain power, right? A bully is using jackal language to maintain power and respect, not in a way that is life-affirming. So that's what the jackal's about. Now the giraffe, so we're going into the contrast here. The giraffe, as I'm sure people are aware of, has the longest neck, right? It's a really, really tall animal. So from a symbolic perspective, the giraffe is so tall it can see the big picture, right? It's really looking at the big picture. And, you know, because it has such its brain is so far up that neck, it has the biggest heart, right? So it literally has the biggest heart of any land mammal. So that's another reason for the symbol is that focus on big-heartedness. Another interesting thing about the giraffe is that it will eat these acacia leaves and branches for nutrition, and the acacia comes with thorns. And so what's cool about the giraffe is it actually has a saliva in its mouth, and it can hold the thorns in its mouth and just kind of chew and chew. And the saliva actually softens the thorns, and then they're able to digest it as nutrients. Now, the place where this really fits in with the symbol is that oftentimes we'll have, you know, some form of jackal coming at us. So those are like the thorns. You know, whether it's name calling, whether it's blaming or shaming or criticism or whatever it is, right? Those are the thorns. And the giraffe is actually able to go, okay, I can be present with this, and I can seek to digest it for the nutritional content, for the value that is here. And there is value. So again, we're going to get to that later. But there is value. So the giraffe is able to actually stand firm with the presence of a jackal, and actually take in, not in a self-negating way, but is able to listen in a way that helps that giraffe to digest what's being said and to even create value out of it. Now, the fourth thing that's really cool about a giraffe is that they're strong. So, you know, I said that it can take in the thorns, right? And thorns are okay, but if it's a full-out attack, right? Or not even a full-out attack, a giraffe can have boundaries. So, for example, a giraffe is so strong that a lion knows not to mess with a giraffe. One kick from a giraffe can kill a lion. Right? So giraffes are vegetarian. They're not interested in harming others. They're vegetarian, right? They're no harm in the animal world. Not a predator. However, it will protect that which it loves, right? So if there is truly a threat, it has the ability to use a protective use of force. We'll be going into that later as well. So those are the symbols of the jackal and the giraffe as used in nonviolent communication. We'll also be going into how the jackal and giraffe, this part here being jackal, this part here being giraffe, various ways in which that plays out in the world. These tools, again, are available on my website at www.lovesmartcards.com. They're available for free download. Just go to the free tools tab and you'll find them there. All right, on to the next video.